When you give sales presentations, one of the hardest things to think about is that a lot of times they're not these formal sit-down presentations. What you actually have to do is they're a lot more like thinking on your feet. So I want to ask you this. How does it make you feel if someone turns to you, puts you on the spot? So I'm going to give you some time to think about this with an actual question. So here it goes. Where do you want to be in 5 years? I'm going to pause here and I'm going to let you jot down the different emotions that you experience when someone puts you on the spot, especially with a question like that. So some people really like those unexpected questions. As a matter of fact, they usually describe it as kind of thriving on the adrenaline rush that they get. But most of us, we feel pretty anxious and unsure when we're put on the spot, especially with a question we'd rather not answer, we don't know the answer to. So when we talk about needs-based sales presentations, they are all about being able to listen to the customer and then synthesize all this information that you're getting from them and then improvising. Now, that does not mean that you don't prepare. As a matter of fact, I think that you over-prepare and you also do something that I call contingency planning. I'm a huge contingency planner. So let me tell you a personal story. People often say that they think that I'm quick on my feet, but I have to confess that I'm not really very quick on my feet. I'm actually a little more introverted than I am extroverted, and I hate being caught unprepared. It brings out my anxiety. I become almost a different person. So what do I do about this? I learned a long time ago that if I do what's called contingency planning, it really removes a whole lot of my anxiety. Now, if you've ever programmed anything, what this means is it means a lot of if-then statements. So let me give you an example. If this happens when I'm talking to the customer, then I'm going to do this. If that happens when I'm talking to a customer, I'm going to respond in this way. That's what contingency planning is all about. So the second thing that you do to kind of reduce this anxiety of being put on the spot is research. You've already started this in this class. And I will really assure you that it really helps. It builds your confidence. And together, this combination of research plus contingency planning is really what makes you a lot more confident when you're put on the spot and you're in front of a customer. Now, the real advantage of these interactive presentations is that people don't expect you to be perfect. I'm going to share this example, and you will have studied some about memorized presentations and then also extemporaneous presentations. Now, I'll tell you that even a memorized presentation, it should still be really spontaneous, or at least it should sound that way. Now, I believe that with memorized presentations, sometimes they work with a brand new salesperson, but very quickly you need to get to this more extemporaneous form of speaking. Now, what I mean by that is that you've kind of bulleted concepts, you've prepared, you know where you're going, but it's not a word for word, let me see if I can memorize my script. Okay? So even as I do these modules on camera for you, my scripts are pretty extemporaneous. Every time I do a take, slightly different words come out of my mouth, and that's actually a good thing. It keeps me from sounding quite as memorized and practiced, and that's actually a real advantage of these more laid-back styles of sales presentations. Now, to be extemporaneous is to actually be successful in what I call conversational sales presentations. Okay? Now, when you're put on the spot, in the moment, couple of quick tips. The first thing that you're going to want to do is breathe. Now, we may have practiced the huh exercise of breathing in class. Remember, you put your hands on your diaphragm, and you've got to make that muscle move. Okay, to do an adequate breath, one that will actually calm you down, I want you, and you can do it right now with me if you want, to figure out that muscle that you're moving when you do that really deep breath. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take that deep breath. So let's do that together. Now, what I want you to do there is whenever you take that deep breath, please do not panic, because the customer will actually probably not notice that you take the breath. We took a lot longer breath here because we're practicing it. You're going to breathe, you're going to gather your thoughts, and then you're going to reply to your customer. Now, you might have noticed I didn't raise my shoulders when I was breathing. Breathing is happening all from that diaphragm. Now, if your customer puts you on the spot and you don't know the answer, what I want you to do is be honest and tell the customer you'll get back to them with the correct answer. Let me end with a couple of other techniques that really help a lot of people be successful with these types of presentations. So the first technique is that you actually engage in positive self-talk before you ever get in front of the customer. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of times I recommend that people go stand in front of a mirror, remind themselves, I've prepared. I have a great relationship with my customer. It's actually not unlike a lot of the strategies that many of you have used to be effective test takers. Build that self-confidence. Positive self-talk is great. The next thing you do is you develop your listening skills. I will probably have shared in class at least once how I have to make myself listen. I know it's really weird, but I do. I pinch myself with my finger to make sure that I'm listening and I'm not interrupting other people whenever I'm trying to be a good listener. That third thing is to develop those question asking skills. We're going to learn how to develop and ask open-ended questions that are really carefully targeted to pull out the type of information that you need from your customer. We'll spend a lot of time studying that in this semester, and you'll even have an online module where you can practice asking these open-ended questions. The next thing is I want you to become comfortable with silence. Silence is kind of strange. And I'll tell you, a lot of students are uncomfortable and feel really put on the spot when they're on the phone and there's a pause and they ask someone a question and they don't respond right away. And then that also happens when you're on a video conference. So my biggest tips to help people look like they can think on their feet. And remember, you're just looking like it. I fake it on a regular basis. It's to prepare, contingency plan, build your own confidence, listen, and then ask great questions. So the next time someone puts you on the spot, what will you do?